Welcome, welcome, welcome to yet another edition of Valley Talk Live. I am Jeff Crow, joined by my fellow co-hosts,
Marcus Ruiz Evans.
And Mr. Robert Stark joining us via Santa Barbara. Welcome, Mr. Stark.
Hey, nice being on with you guys. Looks like it's going to be a very exciting show today.
And today's guest is candidate for District 1 here in Fresno, the city limit of Fresno, Mr. Rama Dawar. Welcome, Mr. Dawar.
Thank you so much for inviting me and having me on your talk show.
Oh, it's a pleasure, always. I'm going to ask one question here, and then we'll turn this over here to Mr. Marquise Ruiz, as we call him here, and Stark the Shark, we'll say, okay?
Okay.
You know, yesterday there was an event here in the Tower District, which is part of this district, where a few candidates were there for a forum, and they were asked a very simple question: what type of ties do they have to the district? And it was amazing to find out that most of them do not have very deep roots, if you will, to this district. They just moved here, they just bought homes here. They're not very well connected here, so to speak. So, Mr. Dawar, what's your ties to the district in terms of how long you lived here, business, whatnot?
Thank you so much, Jeff, for asking me this question. I am a long-term resident of District 1. I have lived and done business in District 1 for over 12 years. I am a business owner since many years, over a decade, in this district. My daughters have gone to school in this community, and I have grown a deep love for the residents of this area. That is why I am running for Fresno City Council, and especially for this district. I bought my first home in 2001. I signed up the documents and I moved in that home in the first or second month of 2002. So I am the candidate who has lived more than a decade in this district.
Well, that would put you at about 10 years or 11 years longer than some of the other folks, that's for sure. Let's turn this over to Marcus for a question here from Mr. Marquise.
Rama Dawar, I'd first like to say Sat Sri Akalji.
Sat Sri Akal, Namaskar, Adab. There are different ways to greet a person in Indian language, and India has 323 languages spoken, including Spanish.
Yes, I'm aware of that. I'm very impressed. Frida Pinto, the Indian actress. Well, let me ask you, Rama, why run? You live in District 1. Were things working out okay? Did you think, I'll just, I need something to do? Or did you see an opportunity to go, well, I think it should be done this way, and I'm not seeing the existing leadership, I guess, over the last 10 years do that? Did you have things that you wanted to do or ideas that you thought would be productive, but you weren't seeing them done? Was there something, a mission, a call to action that what different are you going to bring to the table, and was that the impetus or the reason for you initially deciding to run?
Marcus, as you have seen in our leadership, we have wonderful leaders in our city hall.
Okay.
Our council members, they are doing a great job. But when matter comes that why am I running for this position? This community, this city has given me a lot. I became a professor at Fresno State after moving to Fresno. I started my business in the city of Fresno after moving to the United States. I bought my first home in the city of Fresno. My children, they went to the schools of city of Fresno in the limits of Fresno City. Central Unified School District, Fresno Unified School District. I have taught with Fresno, Madera, and Clovis Unified School Districts. My children, they grew up in the city limits of Fresno. One of my daughter, she is going to be an epidemiologist next year. She's going to be a doctor.
Okay.
And this city has given me a lot. Considering that, looking into the past and present, when this city has given me a lot, I became first Indian Asian or Asian Indian planning commissioner of this city.
Impressive.
Looking into these all the things, when this city has given me a lot, I feel I have to give something back to our community, back to this city. That is the reason I am running for this position. I want to give back to our community.
Right.
Nothing else.
Right. Fair enough. Fair enough. The classic community service, want to give back. You were given, now you want to return the favor.
Absolutely.
I could see that. I could see that. Well, let me ask you just a follow-up question before I kick it over to Robert. You were talking a lot about your experience as a business person.
Absolutely. I am a business person.
Here in Fresno, and I saw that you had worked in real estate, and what were the other business backgrounds that you've worked in?
Marcus, as you have seen on my website before, and it seems to me the question you are asking, either you have read my resume or
Yes.
you have looked into my website or you have did some research about me.
You found me out.
That's good. So I am a realtor since over 8 years. I am a paralegal. I am an income tax preparer. I am an independent facilitator for drug education, domestic violence, parenting education, and in addition to that, I am a business consultant. I have so many different certificates hanging on my office walls.
I can vouch for that.
Well, that was a lead-up question. Here's the larger, bigger question. Okay, I needed to hear you say it. You have a business consultation background, a real estate background, a paralegal background, and an income tax background. So, kind of an existential question. This is something I like to do on the show here. Tell me, of these backgrounds which float around the arena of business, what is it that you have learned working in these industries, working in these businesses, that is a skill set or an insight that you can see is either not being done or not grasped by our current establishment? I mean, what are you going to bring to the table from your business background and these varied exposures and experiences? What kind of insights or skill sets or principles or disciplines have you picked up that you can bring as a candidate that perhaps other candidates running against you and perhaps other leaders who are already elected don't have, because they just don't have that business background so well-rounded?
It is a great question. Words are selected very wisely. There is no doubt.
Thank you.
But you asked me a very big question. Number one,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I cannot speak for other candidates. Number two, elected officials, they do research, they do their own job. When matter comes about me, I have many hats. As I stated earlier, I will utilize my experiences in different fields that I have earned from when I will be on the dais. When I will be in the city hall as a council member, I will utilize, if I can run my own business, I can run the city hall. When matter comes, what you will do the different as compared to the other candidates, I will cut the ties of bureaucratic matters. I will make sure that people, they are getting their services offered and provided by the city hall under one roof. That people, they do not need to wait for months and months to get their permits to get their licenses, to listen from the city hall. All the permits, all the licenses can be offered, delivered, and services can be offered under one roof.
Okay.
I will hire more police officers to provide public safety. In the past, since many years, I have been working to educate people for their safety, how to protect their properties, how to protect their lives. In 2009, I organized some self-awareness meetings and some questions and answers. Those were posted online
Right.
by different organizations. So I will make sure that people's life, their businesses, and their properties are safe and secure. So I will provide public safety. I will make sure that our infrastructure is maintained well, our gutters, our streets, our sidewalks. As I was on the planning commission, whenever there was a business matter came in front of the commission for any reason, either business has filed an appeal or city officials filed an appeal against that business, or there was a new CUP requested to the planning commission, I always favored the businesses.
Okay.
And I always voted in favor of business.
Okay.
And I will bring all the experiences. I'm a pro-business person, and I will bring these experiences and pro-business thoughts and experience to the city council.
Yeah, I can see that. What I'm hearing is that you're saying that you'll be able to.
Why don't we send this over to Mr. Robert Stark, the Shark? Ask a question
All
of
right.
Mr. Rama
Yeah.
Dawar.
So you mentioned you were on the planning commission. What, coming from that background, what are some issues with planning that you see as major issues in the city of Fresno that you hope to implement when you were on the city council?
Robert, when I will be on the city council, I will work on balancing our needs, including outer growth, inner growth, and other matters.
How about this one? With the, with the area that Fresno's located at, it's, especially from where Mr. Stark is from, Southern California. It's on the way to Yosemite. It's on the way to all these destination points. How do we get people
and
to
no, the
stop
thing
there?
is, so many people go to Fresno as tourists to places like Yosemite, but none of them actually stop in Fresno. I think I'll ask you, what will you do to get some of those tourists that go to places like Yosemite, the Sequoias? What will you do to get them to stop in Fresno and attract them either through actual attractions or through getting advertisement out there?
That's very good.
Mr. Stark, I will work with the businesses of the area. It will be not only for and from my district. Fresno is a great city. There are so many things to view. Fresno Chaffee Zoo, Yosemite Park, and our downtown areas, water tank. There are so many things that we can attract our tourists to Fresno. Even Tower District. Tower District has wonderful some small strip malls where they can walk, sit, dine, and enjoy their life.
Absolutely.
And I love Tower. Based on that, I will try to promote each and single activity, business that can bring more tourism to our Fresno.
Do you have any what's one big idea that you think Fresno could do, low-hanging fruit, to improve its tourism market, to get more people to come here?
Repeat that question. What was the first word? Because I was thinking something else.
Oh, yeah. Is is there a big idea, something relatively simple, that Fresnans could do in order to expand and excite more tourism here? Besides promoting what we already have, is there something new that we could do? Is there something we're not doing? A relatively easy thing perhaps being done in other cities, or that perhaps that you saw in your international travels that we could do to encourage tourism here in the Fresno area?
Fresno has so many things, there is no doubt, but any and all the ideas are welcomed. If there is anything that residents they can tell me, show me, guide me, I will work with them. My office doors will be always open for the residents, for the constituents, and for the citizens of this city.
I've got a big idea that will guarantee people will stop. We will put checkpoints for tourism on our freeways and use the cops and the highway patrol to divert people to certain hotels and restaurants and order them to eat there. Back to reality. Back to reality.
Well, I mean, I always thought we needed to do something about the entrance along the 99 freeway, just as an aside.
We also have water parks here, and Yosemite Park, Chaffee Zoo, so many different places, and we have several attractions in Fresno, and I think tourists can visit Fresno, enjoy here, and we have great restaurants. If you will walk into our district, you will see people enjoying different foods, from American food to Mexican food, from Mexican to Chinese, Asians, and including Thai food. So looking at that, I think we have so many attractions in Fresno.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
How about our parks, our local parks, our recreation, our areas in town that are not being tended to because of budget issues? How do we get those cleaned up? The graffiti, the litter, and all that. There's just not, right now, it just doesn't seem like it's a priority, and it seems like it's a place that it's one of the first areas to cut. I've heard some ideas like make people do community service there that are ordered to by the courts, or get groups together that care about these places. What type of ideas do you have?
Jeff, this is a matter that needs and requires a city council vote and a massive research. And it is upon our judicial system, upon the judges, and city needs to work with our judicial system. If a program can be created, yes, I do agree with you about graffiti in our parks or maintaining parks. As you know, city doesn't have enough budget. I will make sure that I can get some money from the federal and state government to bring to Fresno City, and I will utilize that money towards park and recreation system.
I got a question for you that I heard a few of your opponents have said to almost every question, by the way. I've heard them on other stations and other places. When they don't have an answer for something, their answer is, well, I can bring people together.
Right.
I can bring people together.
Right.
I appreciate that you will say, hey, maybe we have to study the issue. We have to examine the issue when we get into the office, if I get into the office, when I'm there. What do you think of that answer when somebody is asked a very serious question, and instead of giving an answer or saying simply, I'm not quite sure yet, instead they say, I can bring people together?
Yes.
Jeff, I cannot speak about others. I can speak about myself, what I will do, what can I do, and what I have done. If my opponents want to say something, this is their choice. And how do they want to answer a question? It is their choice. But I cannot speak on their behalf, and I cannot speak for them.
Well, let's build off something you had said earlier about you can talk about your previous experience, and then Robert, I'd like to build off the question that you asked with the Planning Commission. Rama, you had worked on the Fresno City or Fresno County Planning Commission previously?
Fresno City's Planning Commission.
Right. And you have said that you are pro-business and that while working on that planning commission, you voted generally more pro-business. Could you tell us about a time, a specific instance, change the names, the dates, whatever, where there was an issue in front of the planning commission and you, in fact, did push for a more pro-business solution, perhaps against some of the institutional resistance, perhaps not, perhaps you provided some new insight. Could you tell us a story, tell the Fresno people an example, the best one of when you fought for business here in Fresno?
There are so many examples. There is new construction going on Herndon and 99.
Right.
This was approved when I was on the Planning Commission.
Right.
I voted in favor of that construction.
Very good.
There was a big matter for many weeks in front of the Planning Commission for shutting down a business. If you will review the Fresno Bee's articles, you will see that I was the first commissioner asked the city officials if a matter can be resolved without bringing it in front of the Planning Commission. If there is a tax matter or there was a violation, why it was not resolved. And that business was in front of the Planning Commission to stay open for many weeks. I voted in favor of that business. That business is still alive in the District 1.
Very good, very good. What about Robert? Do you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, I guess I'll touch on some issues with planning. I'll have two questions, so I'll just say that I'll ask you both. One question is something that Marcus touched on, is that he said something is when part of the problem is that when people drive up to places like Yosemite or Sacramento, the visual effect of driving up the freeway on the 99 or the other freeway that goes up towards Clovis and the Sierras, there's a very bad visual effect. I think what you see in the freeway gives people a bad impression of Fresno, right, and it prevents them from exploring other parts of Fresno, just the reaction of what they see from the freeway. Are there things that can be done to affect that?
Robert, wherever I have the knowledge, freeways are maintained by Caltrans, not by the city of Fresno. What I will do, I will have my office doors open for open conversation, and I will work with Caltrans. I will approach them, I will talk to them to make my city. I call Fresno my city, my home city, a better place, a better visions from the freeway that I will be able to do. But according to my understanding, maintaining the freeways, including 99, 41, it is Caltrans. When I will be in the office, I will not hesitate approaching to the Caltrans and asking them to make some changes on our freeways.
One of the first changes you might have to make is tell them to put their cigarettes out. But anyhow, that's a common joke with Caltrans workers. Okay, no offense to Caltrans workers out there. I know you guys work hard. Slow in the cone zone. We know the sign and all that, and double the fines if you're caught speeding in the cone zone. And you guys are great guys. Okay, don't come get
Caltrans people. They are great. They work during the nights. If you have seen, sometimes in the nights there are road blocks, and they are working. And I support them, and I know they will do a wonderful job. And I will speak to them when I will be in the office.
Now, one of the questions that I have heard from a lot of people in this area, in this whole district, is the issue of crime in general. Now, we've touched on, obviously, some of the more violent folks, we know what we want there. Lockup. We want some real time. We're all against that. There's also an issue with, and you had said you were a certified drug and alcohol rehabilitation specialist. What about the types that are kind of on the borderline? They're not out stealing or robbing or pillaging, let's say.
Would you say something like car theft?
Yeah.
Or hold on, Robert. Just how should we deal with there's a lot of people that are like, we're tired of people openly using drugs in the Tower District. There's a lot of residents that say that, and they'll say, hey, look, they're not doing other things per se, but they don't want to smell drugs in the air, or they don't want to watch them do drugs. Is there a way to get these people into programs? And you're a specialist in programs. Is there something that can be done? Because the jails aren't going to keep them. That's a reality.
Right.
Jeff, I do understand each and single citizen living in Fresno has concerns about crime. The question you asked me about non-violent drug offenders be dealt. This is not an issue that city has much control over, but I would like to see more rehabilitation of those who are not committing violent crimes, because it is upon our judicial system. A judge, when he's on the bench, he sentences a person. He tells him that he needs to go for rehabilitation, or he needs to go to jail, or he needs to do community service. A city doesn't have a say on this.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. Obviously, it is up to the judicial system to decide the fate of somebody who is arrested. I guess what I was more getting at is that is there anything that the city can do in terms of creating bed space or homeless shelter? Maybe even the homeless problem is another one.
Right.
It is a touchy subject, but I can guarantee you, I can say about myself, I will fight to ensure the city of Fresno provides the levels of police and fire protection to keep our community safe. I will do whatever will be required with the best of my abilities, knowledge, skills, and experience. And I will make sure that we have officers in the beats to protect our people, to protect our properties, to protect our businesses.
All right, Marcus.
Yeah, Rama, I'd like to quote you, sir, if I may. This is off your Rama Dawar for citycouncil.com/issues section off your own official website, underneath the section Jobs and Economy. Quotes, the city of Fresno must pursue greater economic development to ensure residents have access to the high-paying jobs they deserve. This expands the tax base without raising taxes. I couldn't agree more with that general philosophy. The big question is, what is a big thing that Fresno can do to expand its job space? We have, I believe, the Brookings Institute this year called Fresno the poorest region in all of America. We were the hardest hit section in this global recession we've gone through, and Fresno, as the heart of the Central Valley, has traditionally always had a unemployment and underemployment position. What can we do to get out of that situation, to change our economic life, to bring or create high-paying jobs here?
The main thing is, I will make sure that I will fix the broken bureaucracy at City Hall and that will help to bring more jobs in Fresno. All the services will be provided under one roof. I will work on that. I will work with other council members. It can bring more jobs. It can bring more businesses in Fresno. When we will have more businesses in Fresno, we will have more revenue. It will bring more tax for our local government, and we no need to raise taxes.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think.
And when we will have more businesses, it will create more jobs in our city.
Your thought on the creation of a garbage service, which I heard has been proposed.
Robert, you broke up a little bit. Could you repeat the question for all of us, please?
What is your thoughts on the privatization of a garbage service?
Very good.
Robert, whenever I walked in my district that I am running for, people they have asked this question over and over. And even at Fresno City College, in an open forum, this question was asked. And I have the same answer every time. If our city employees are doing good, why do we need to privatize our services? But if time requires or there is a need to make a change, before voting on anything, before making any decision, I want to do a research. I want to look into that. Why? For what reasons? Will it benefit my constituents? Will it benefit to my city? Will it benefit to the employees? I will not vote only for one reason. I will do my research. I will look into the issue. I will see how it can benefit to everyone, employees, businesses, citizens, and my citizens, my constituents, my city people are the main people that I will look into their needs and requirements.
Is that the main service that or skill set you're going to be able to provide is almost that of an ombudsman. Hey, city council, regular people, you need somebody to really look into City Hall and how to make it efficient. You need somebody who can speak on your behalf or help you understand government. I can listen to the public, and then in the correct government phrasing, because of experience in different government agencies, help walk issues through the system, much like a problem solver / ombudsman at most of the universities.
Yes, I do agree with you, Marcus. And I will listen my constituents. I will walk in the evenings, in the afternoons to listen them before I will make up my mind, because my constituents are the main people who will be sending me to the city hall.
Mr. Dawar, I want to ask you a question that is more of the softer side of you. I saw on your website that you went to the annual Crime Victims Quilt ceremony. It's a very somber ceremony where victims of homicide are commemorated by their families. What was your impression of the event? How did this move you personally, Rama?
Jeff, I think it is important that we remember those in our community who have tragically been the victim of a crime. But we also need to help prevent future crimes. That is why public safety is one of my top priorities. Yes, I went there. Police chief was there. District attorney was there. Families of victims were there. And it was an event touched my heart. when I was there, I was thinking that people who were murdered, how their families are feeling. I have seen so many people crying, and their tears were falling from their eyes. And as I stated, we have seen fallen people. My heart, my prayers are with those families. That is the reason public safety is one of my top priorities. And I was there to see how someone feels when he is a victim. I was there to support those victims. And we need to ensure that the police have the resources they need to respond to crime. We also need to ensure we have early intervention programs for at-risk youth to try and reach them before they commit more serious crimes.
Right.
And Jeff, I am speaking with my heart. I want to give back to this community. I want to give back to my city. That is the reason that I go to these events. That is the reason I am running for this position.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What discretion do you have under the current system, the current budget, for you to allocate districts the funding for each individual district, such as the district you're in, District 1?
Robert, this is a question that I need to look into that, do a research. I am not a current council member. And to work with the budget, it is very crucial matter. If I will be given a chance, I will look into that. But when I will be in the office, I can better answer this question in the future at that time. And I do not want to throw any words that this is the budget for this district or that is the budget for that district. I want to stay on the real things, on the reality. If I do not have a knowledge of a subject, of a matter, I will speak up clearly. Guide me, tell me, I am open, I will work on that issue.
Well, let's get back to some of the things that you did say you were for, primarily drawing upon experiences that you've already had. That's concrete. What I've heard is you're saying that one of the best things that we can do to increase business here in Fresno is to cut bureaucracy and make services at City Hall more effective. Efficiency, streamlining. What exposure as a business person did you have with Fresno City Hall where you began to appreciate that a more streamlined service shop, not multiple departments, being one stop, one shop, get your business permits done, and less bureaucracy would actually be very supportive for business? What experiences did you have as a business person? How did you come to the understanding that efficiency and cutting bureaucracy is one of the best things that we can do to grow business here in Fresno?
I never had any problem with the City Hall, but I have seen.
Are we still on?
Well, I'm positive. Play.
Hello?
All right, sorry, folks. We had a technical difficulty. We'll blame that on our sound engineer here, Mr. Robert Pena. That would be RoBeert Pena if you'd like to look him up on Facebook or some other social networking site and
You're funny, Jeff.
and tell
I
him
like
off.
You. There's a
There's
reason
a
why I like
wiggly
you,
line
man.
above the N.
Anyhow, that's true. Mr. Ruiz here would know that. Right? We can't forget that. Okay, sorry. Anyways, you were saying, Mr. Ruiz.
Mr. Dawar was giving an
Sorry.
answer based upon his experiences with business as it relates to Fresno City Hall and how he's come to his understanding of the best way to promote business in Fresno.
Few months ago, I have seen that one of the applicant who applied for some permits in the city of Fresno, and the department that issued that permit charged him different fees. One was for application fee, one was for scanning those documents, and third was for processing. Something like that. I have those documents in my office, that file. After few months, the same department asked that applicant that he needs to reapply because they have changed some codes.
Oh, good Lord.
But when that applicant went to the city hall to reapply, first of all, he was asked to repay those fees.
Wow.
When he asked why, he was told because you are reapplying for the same permit. He was holding a permit. For the same reason, he was asked to repay or to resubmit his application and resubmit the fees. The person second time was on the counter. He charged him different fees as compared to the fees charged few months earlier.
Wow.
And this matter was also brought to the Fresno City Council members. He didn't get any reply. Then after it was told to him that city employees will charge him overtime fees. For one reason, when you are applying for a permit, you have paid the regular fees. To expedite that permit or that application or that file, you are asked to pay overtime fees. If an applicant is asked to pay overtime fees, that applicant needs to have his regular time fees refunded to him. But it didn't happen. So I will make sure that double dipping, triple dipping is not happening to the constituents or to the Fresnans.
That's good. And you know
That's
what?
really good.
It was perfectly in line for me to say good Lord, because not only are we a conservative talk radio network, but on the weekends we are a Christian talk radio network. So it's perfectly fine to say good Lord when you hear something like that. That's a terrible thing for a business to have to go through. Anyone really, anybody through, imagine having to get your driver's license and you pay the fee and they delay it. It doesn't get out there. And so you have to go back to DMV. Bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah.
101.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
I will make sure that citizens are not punished by our bureaucrats.
Yeah, double jeopardy, triple jeopardy, So, Robert, are you with us?
Yes.
excellent.
Let's hear something.
Sure. I guess I want to get a little. We touched on this earlier about the city planning issue because you were on the planning board. But what I see happening is people in Fresno moving out to newer areas, and I see sort of the central core of the city decaying. Do you see this as a problem, and do you think that the city of Fresno should try to revitalize the downtown area?
It's a great question.
Robert, your voice was breaking. And if you can repeat your question,
okay,
it will be highly
repeat it.
appreciated.
Since we were touching on this earlier about how you were on the planning board, but what I see happening in Fresno is people are sort of abandoning the central core of Fresno and moving out to the outskirts of the city in North Fresno, and I guess Clovis too, but that's a separate city. And the central part of the city, the core of the city, is decaying.
Robert, you're breaking up a bit, but I think the gist of the question is that people are leaving downtown. People leave certain areas for the outlying areas, the suburban areas, the wealthier areas, Clovis, whatever.
This is a good question, Robert. When I was on the planning commission, whatever project came in front of the planning commission for revitalization or building affordable homes in the downtown area. I always supported that, and my vote was a yes.
For affordable housing in the downtown area.
Absolutely. And if you have visited recently in the downtown area, you will see a change that people are living there in those lofts, and there is a life in the downtown area. But still, a lot of work needs to be done. We need to bring more life in the downtown area. And when matter comes that people they are moving to other areas, I am walking in these days in Tower. Wonderful people, nice people, very well recognized in the community people. They live in Tower. And it depends who is living where. But when matter comes, I support revitalization, I support downtown, I support Tower. That I can say. And I will make sure that Tower, downtown, and my district is represented well. Concerns are heard well. Concerns are taken care well. That I will do.
That's very progressive. What about the concept of, I mean, there's been a little bit of controversy when we're looking at the idea of smart growth or moving density or impacting the downtown of bike lanes. And I think we saw recently, maybe in the last 6 to 8 months, there was a plan to remove a lane off Fruit and replace it with a bike lane, and that was just a boondoggle. There has been also ideas on improving the bicycle access because some people feel that it supports affordable housing and community development through the Tower District. That would impact the speed of cars. Is making way for bikes through the tower, even at the cost of automobile speed, a good idea? Something perhaps we should look into? Or is it bad for business?
Marcus, when you are asking about growth, we need to work and balance our growth, inner growth and outer growth. I have already stressed that we need to balance our growth. If we will just concentrate on outer growth, in those circumstances, everyone will like to move out from their old home and will like to live in a new home.
Right.
So we need to balance it. Somehow we need to work infill and outfill. And when matter comes about bike lane, I support bike lane because it builds our community a healthy community. How many people they are having diabetes,
Right.
hypertension? When we will drive a bike, we will pedal that.
Absolutely. No,
You guys stop looking at my gut.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
And it will give you some kind of exercise. It will keep our community a healthy community. I support bike projects.
Absolutely.
And when matter comes about lowering down our car speeds, according to vehicle code, we need to give priority to pedestrians and bikers, the people who are driving their bikes. So, doesn't matter a pedestrian is on a busy street or a bike is driven on a busy street. We need to give them first preference to cross the road or to walk and drive their bike.
Certainly, certainly. You know, that brings up something that I've seen floated around, an idea where some of the professionals that live in North Fresno, that work in downtown, the lawyers, the people that work at Community Regional Medical Center, others, have thought or have tried to think of a way to have a rapid bus system, if you will, that goes straight down the freeway, every so often, so that they don't have to, so that we don't have this clog on 41 in particular.
Right.
Now, I know that doesn't have specific ramifications to District 1, but to the city as a whole. And some of the ideas that I've heard include buses that charge a little bit more, buses that are, that have a monthly pass that cost a little bit more, and that way people can take it from Woodward Park, let's say, and get down to their work areas and then back up around 5. Have you heard of this idea before, or what would you think of such an idea?
It is a good idea. Carpooling is a good idea. And I have not heard this idea in the past, but I have heard that there will be a rapid bus transit from North Fresno to downtown to Kings Canyon.
Oh, yes.
But it will be not through 41. It will be on Blackstone, downtown area, North Fresno, River Park. If we will look into that, because I am a business person, it can create more business. It can bring more jobs. Because of jobs, bringing more businesses in Fresno, I support that. But I have not studied that project. So if I have not studied that project, I cannot say anything. But being a business owner, again I am using word but, I support that. Not only it will create more jobs, it will bring more businesses, it can save our environment. That is the main thing. Global warming and other things. If people, they are riding on that particular bus, instead of driving their own multiple cars, how many people they go to downtown every day?
Exactly.
And if we can protect our environment, our future, our earth, it will be a wonderful thing. So based upon few reasons, I support bus rapid transportation.
You touched on the issues of improving the parks in the city. Do you think that there needs to be an expansion of new parks throughout the city?
Robert, based upon budget, I have not done any research, but our parks are very important, and I would like to see restoration in these services as much as possible. But public safety must remain the priority.
Yeah, we have about 4 minutes left with Mr. Rama Dawar, candidate for City Council District 1 here in Fresno. And just to kind of lighten it up a bit, you've got some experience with lots of different things. What makes you stand out amongst the 6 or so candidates? What makes, why should the public vote for you?
Jeff, I can keep speaking for hours and hours, but in few sentences, as you have mentioned that you have only 4 minutes, and I think 1 minute is gone.
About that, yeah.
I can
56,
say that
55.
I can say that I have the maturity, having raised a family in District 1, a long-term resident of District 1. I also have a broad array of experience from running my business to my service on the Planning Commission and as an advisor of Fresno Police Department, making and raising business. I believe I can bring the most mature, experienced representation to the district and to the city hall.
Well, excellent, excellent. We are down to our last 2 minutes, our 2-minute warning, if you will. And just to remind folks, the primary election is June 3rd, 2014. Of course, we encourage everybody to get out and vote. I'm sure Mr. Dawar would love that everybody votes for him.
I will love that, and I will appreciate to the residents who are listening me, and I request them, please vote on June 3rd and vote for me.
There you go. Well, you've heard it from Mr. Dawar. He's talked about issues of crime control, the parks, other areas.
Business.
And if you'd like to add anything else, how about how can people get a hold of you here? We got about 1 minute and 20 seconds left.
People, they can reach me at my campaign telephone number 559-360-8834. They can also reach me via my website, clicking on contact at www.ramadawarforcitycouncil.com. And I want to mention few things that I am also endorsed by Fresno City Council's current council members, Mr. Belongs Young, who currently is representing Fresno City Council District 1. I am also endorsed by former Deputy District Attorney, Mr. Paul Caprolio, who is also a current council member on Fresno City Council. I am also endorsed by Fresno County Board of Supervisor, Mr. Andreas Borgias, former Fresno County Board of Supervisor, Mr. Jeff Reich, Central Unified School District Trustee, Terry Cox, Central Unified School District Trustee, Cynthia Barubi, Deputy District Attorney and Clovis Council Member, Bob Whalen, and many more. 3 seconds.
We are wrapped up there. Vote for Rama Dawar or whoever you'd like.
Get out and vote.
June 3rd.